Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back, baby. We are back. We are back. Season 7. Back at the crib. Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I am your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. And oh boy, we have a very special guest. This basketball head was the first All-American candidate from Jamaica High School. So first All City, first All Queens, first All American, first everything from Jamaica High School. He was later recruited by some of the top schools in the country, but decided to attend the University of Nebraska. But after 2 years, he decided to come home to NYC to attend Manhattan College. We became a Dean's List student and an All-Metropolitan player as a junior. While serving as captain in his senior year, this basketball head received the Doc Sweeney Award as MVP of the annual game against Fordham University and was selected to play in the Big Apple Classic. After college, this basketball head was drafted by the Golden State Warriors in the 8th round of the 1977 NBA draft. I know. I said the 8th round. I know some of you new guys and girls don't get it, but the NBA had more than 2 drafts. And man, in 1992, when they said they was only having, I think it was like 90 in the 90s, when they said they was only having 2 rounds, I cried my eyes out because I knew I was never going to the NBA. But luckily for this basketball head, he had a chance to play in the NBA. And boy, we all wish we had that one chance to say we played in the National Basketball Association. In 2006, this basketball head was selected in the Manhattan College Hall of Fame. And now spent his time as a mentor, president, and a board member of Kurt's Cafe, which we will get into later. You'll find out more about what this basketball head is doing and spread his intellect and his time with youngsters in need. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the show, New York City great, Jamaica High School and Manhattan College legend, Ricky Marsh.
Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
Glenn Pooh Harding. What a great introduction, man. Thank you, man. Much appreciation, for your kind words. And, I'm honored to be, after all these years, man, to be thought about, from, my New York City background. This is good. So thank you.
Nah, this is dope. I want to thank my guy and my brother and our brother, Derek Hawkins, for setting us up, man. We got talking about Derek Hawkins. We got you on here. Got Boo Harvey in the back. Queens, get the money, man. They running things right about now, man.
Come on, Derek. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I connected with Derek. We're friends on Facebook, and I'm a little bit older than him, but he's a good young man.
Yeah, definitely. Both you guys are my OGs, man. I want to say to all the people that just coming in and watching the show, it's your first time, please hit that subscribe button so you get all the notifications for the upcoming shows. I want to welcome everybody back. We've been on hiatus for a minute. This is season 7. I know y'all see that we up to show 293, but actually we shot over 500 shows. So there'll be shows I'll be releasing from the past and doing more shows, doing some more in-person interviews. So we're gonna mix it up and do it right for you guys for season 7. Derek Hawkins is definitely on the check-in. Said Rick the Razor, one of my OG mentors. There you go. we did all right. So okay, so I was contemplating doing this, right? Because when I first got introduced to you, it was Ricky Marsh, and then Eric Clifton. When I looked it up, I'm going, okay, so explain to me that whole situation, because you got Eric Clifton, Ricky Marsh, right? Like this whole name. And I said, you know what? Let me just stick to how I was introduced to him and what I call him as, and we'll leave it like that. And then I'll ask.
So, officially my name is Eric, and it's Eric Clifton Marsh.
And that's my middle name, Eric, too. So trust me.
But my mom, man, she named me Ricky. That was my nickname, actually, after Ricky Nelson, Ozzie, and Harriet. We lived in the Bronx. We lived in the tenements. And my mom wanted to have a house with the white picket fence and a dog. And so she used to watch that show. And so Ricky kind of came in. Ricky kind of came into play. And I just ran with that. Raisins in a whole nother story. We'll talk about that later. But that's where Ricky came from.
Nah, that's cool. That's cool. So let's start off things the way we're supposed to start them off. Who introduced you to the game?
When we left the Bronx, from the tenements of the Bronx, we moved to Queens when I was in 2nd grade. We moved into the basement of my auntie's house, my mom's sister, and it was all about baseball. Philip Robinson, Muhammad Shakur had made mention, I think I saw in one of the emails about how we played baseball. It was all about baseball. It was all about punch ball. It was all about, just hanging in the streets. Any opportunity we had to race and get out there and just race and just athletic kind of stuff. That's what we did. So it really wasn't about basketball at that point. So I lived in Springfield Gardens. I went to PS 37. And then my mom and my sister and I moved to Flushing. When I moved to Flushing, that's when the whole basketball bug started. That's when, the Young Lions came into play. We were at PS 154. We had a night center. We had the after school center. And we were in the gym and we just started playing. I just throw a name out, Frank Mock and I. He played with me at Jamaica High School. They used to have a 3-on-3. They used to have a 2-on-2 tournament at the night center, where they put up on the list what the standings were, and I just got into it, and that whole park there, we hooped and we played. I'm talking about, man, where we would put, you remember those weights that you would put on your ankles so you could jump a little higher. We were into it like that, where you shovel some snow out of the place, off the court, so you can still play, when winter came. And that's when the bug just got to me. And that was elementary school. And then we got into junior high school and the bug was there.
No, that was cool. Salute to my brother, Ayatollah Beats, always on the check-in. Basketball Heads #1 supporter, always on the show, always saluting. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. So what was it like, growing up in New York City, like during the 70s? Like, what was the atmosphere like in the city? Like, from your eyes as a kid?
It was all the way live. It was good. There were no issues. We just hooped. We just played. We just were outside. Back, come on, it's back in the day where you just outside, no cell phones. You needed to be home by dark, that kind of stuff there. And we would just be out. And we would we would just go to our friend's house and say, come on, let's go. And we'd just be out. We have nothing planned. And we would just work it and just be out as kids, catching lightning bugs, just being happy and young and learning from each other. And it was all about athletic, kind of stuff. We were always racing, always wrestling, always just doing some really wholesome kind of stuff. Getting on our bikes, man. I mean, getting on our bikes and riding down hills. We were a little bit daring and all that kind of stuff there. But this is way before basketball. We just enjoyed our time. But the 70s, before the whole real drug epidemic, hit New York, sports, kept us grounded. Sports kept us grounded.
Nah, for sure. You guys was really outside. Could say we all during that time. We didn't have any cell phones and any video games, so we was really outside for real. Salute to my guy Joseph Almeida. What up, Joe? He said ankle weights. Oh my God, way back. Yo, salute to my guy Joe. He does a lot of great things. He's from Boston. Big basketball fan out there. He keeps everybody abreast of what's going on out there in Boston. Salute to my guy Joe. He knows a lot about New York City basketball. He's always on the check-in.
He knows about ankle weights too.
Yes, definitely. Salute Luther Clark. He already spelled it out. Razor. Nah. Appreciate you, Ayatollah. Appreciate you. Ted Portwine, he said, ask Rick about playing in 147 Park with Calvin Brunton. Is that Calvin Burton or Calvin Bruton? Bruton.
Calvin Bruton. Who has been in Australia for the last 40 plus years.
I got to get him on too. I got his number. We definitely talk.
Yep. You got to get Calvin on. And now 147 wasn't Calvin's park. That was my park.
Oh, hold on. Say that again. Hold on. Say that again.
147 was not Calvin Bruton's park. We would bring him over. He would come over and run with us. But that wasn't his park. 147 was my park, along with Sundance, Clarence ran. That was our park. And I'm going to tell you, can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll talk a little bit more about, do some of the 40 projects. It was one day I had, I went bike riding with my sister and, her boyfriend. Took our bikes and we rode up to Jamaica Avenue, got on a train, and we went riding in Central Park. So we're in Central Park and we just hanging out for the day. And then we come back, and I come back that evening and I come by 147 on my bike. And they were like, yo, man, where you been? They said, man, Dave Edwards, Cowhead, all of them, they came from 40 and they rocked our park. They rocked 147. And I'm like, and so I said, okay. And they said, they coming tomorrow. And so boom, I called Calvin Bruton, I called Foots, and we had our own 147 crew. They came back and we went at it with them in 147 and held our own. I think we rocked to most in the park, but it was all camaraderie because you know how we did back in the day. You play, you hug, and you hang. But I'll never forget that coming back. Must have been, where you been, man? They must came here and rocked our park. People can't come in and just rock your park. So that's a 147 story.
Because now 147 is the Portwines Park. You know what I'm saying? So it's called the Terror Dome. Tell me if I'm wrong, Ted. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I went out to an event. They do events out there every year and give back to the kids, man. So you guys,
back in the day, though,
they kept it going.
He was a young boy back then.
Yep. Yep. For sure, for sure. Oh, yes, definitely, Joe. Definitely. Definitely. He said, that wasn't the intent. Legend Mr. Bruton told me a story about playing with you in there. He said, I've known you're from the 7, aka the Terror Dome. Yeah, that's what they call it, the 7. Yep, that's it. And now they call it the Terror Dome now. Yep.
You know, it's funny because 147, you know, the court was at a slant.
Yep.
I mean, if you shot a jumper from the left side of the court, you were like at an angle versus the right side of the court. But you learned how to deal with it, you know, and it wasn't no nets. you just hoop. If you were on the left side of the court, you got to shoot it a little bit higher. You know, the other side, then you got to have a little better angle. I mean, that's how we ran in the park.
He said, correct, but I'm standing on the shoulders of legends. There you go. Always showing respect. Always showing respect. But I tell kids, you know, you guys have it good. You know, we were playing with basketballs that was beat up. The leather was worn out off of it. It probably had a titty in the ball, or one of the rims was bent. It was so many obstacles we had to overcome to get our game to the next level, but we didn't let those things stop us. Right? We played till we could get to the nice gyms and the courts that had nets on them. Yeah. He said, Ted, it was the Razor Dome back then. So tell me, where did this name Razor come from? You was cutting guys up, man. What was going on?
Yeah, the Razor came from IS-8. And Carl Nickerson was the master blaster on the mic at IS-8. I'm talking about packed house. I mean, folks would say, world is here. Because they had 2 Brooklyn teams. We had a Queens team. They had a team with Ollie Taylor, you know, coming out from Long Island. So we had like about 8 teams at IS-8. And I'm talking about it was live. I'm talking about it was packed. You couldn't even get in the gym. This is a junior high school gym, you know, with pros and playing in there. And so me, Calvin Bruton, Foots, Rudy Jackson was a part of our crew. And we would just hoop in there. We would just be raining it. And so the jumper, you know, turned into the Razor type jumper. And Carl Nickerson, the master blaster, you know, he gave me that name and it's stuck to this day. So I remain the Razor. That's too funny.
Nice. So who are some of your basketball heroes coming up?
Some of my basketball heroes, you know, coming up, and I'm gonna tell you this, and this is part of how I play. Dave Edwards Sr. was, I'm not saying he was all the way a mentor where I was under him, but anything he said to you, you took it and felt good about it. But I love the way he played. I mean, he was a guy that he wasn't going to get you 30 points. He may not even get you 20 points. He'd get you 18. But he played defense. He swung the basketball. He kept people engaged. But his defense, and he talked to people, you know, you could tell you, all right, he's going to spin now. As soon as he spin, his boy, Brody Robinson would be right there. And they were just good with that. They ran the court, and Dave Edwards was, I mean, we all so respected him. Senior, not junior. I know you know, I was already going out of New York on the junior tip. But his daddy was one of the best players without scoring a whole lot of points out there. So that's somebody that him and Brody, and they were like backcourt mates. And that stood out. I remember that.
Now, did Dave Edwards Sr. play college ball?
He went to Virginia Commonwealth.
Hold on. So, okay. So this is what I'm going to do right now. Hold up. Okay. We're going to show him some love right now. We're going to definitely show him some love right now.
Rest in peace.
Yes. Yes.
That's that one.
That's him right there. That's him right there. And tomorrow I will be putting him up on my Instagram. Show him some love to the great Dave Edwards Sr. and his son, Dave Edwards Jr. When during the pandemic, when a lot of New York City great basketball players was passing away of COVID and all those things, I think we lost like 20-something players from New York City. And that's when I decided to go full throttle on doing basketball heads because, you know, a lot of guys never got a chance to tell their story. And we live in the Mecca of basketball in the whole world, and no one was recording these stories. And when those guys passed away, it created or helped me create this show right here, man. And, you know, have guys like yourself and others on the show so they can tell their story from their own mouth, right? And give their own history instead of letting somebody tell their story. Because a lot of times with our history, somebody's always telling our story and they probably never really get it right.
Yep.
Right? So salute to late, great Dave Edwards Sr. and Dave Edwards Jr. Show him some love. Show him some love. Dave Edwards, my guy, for sure.
Dave Edwards Sr., man, don't even come down the court thinking that you're going to shake him and just come with a move. It's gone. He got it.
Woo!
You know, I didn't know if he was left-handed or right-handed. You know?
That's how good he was.
That's how good he was. Oh, my goodness. That's a great family. That's a basketball family right there.
Most definitely. Lord.
Oh, that's a great picture.
Yep, and this is wow. Hold on for a sec, because I'm trying to get picture Dave up here. Boom, here we go. Yep, and there's Junior right there.
Always.
So when that happened, you know, and so many others, Chris Brooks, Lee Green, Mo Kirby, a lot of ball players died during this time. Rest in peace to all New York City greats and legends.
But you got to give props too, man, to Raymond Cowhead. It was, you know, Dave's brother. I mean, he had the game. It was smooth. It was, you know, he was smooth with his game, but he was nice with it. So it was family. They came with it, and they were well respected by everyone.
Yeah. The Hawks said if you didn't get to those games early, you had to listen to the game from the outside. Definitely, I understand that. Woo! That was an amazing time right there. Dave C and definitely knew how to run the show. We learned a lot from him, Cal and Ab.
All right, so Ab.
Yes, Dave Poe. I've heard a lot about Ab. Boo Harvey mentioned him as well.
So Ab, I don't know if Ab even played, but Ab was hard. And he was hard on us as Queens players because he always felt that we were soft. We weren't as hard as Brooklyn players. And he would always, you know, talk his trash to us. Y'all weak, y'all soft, you know. But, you know, it was so funny. I'm talking about, this was like maybe 9 months ago. I talked to Ray Haskins. And Ray Haskins I said, man, admin always, man, talk stuff about us in Queens. He said, now when he came to Brooklyn, man, he gave y'all props. He said, he gave you props. I said, this is 50 plus years later. All of a sudden, I'm hearing that Ab gave me personally and us in Queens props. But he never would say that to us. But he fueled us. He made us play harder. You know, he was that tough guy that just was always on you and always talked his talk. And I tell you, we got better because of Ab.
Yeah, Boo Harvey mentioned the same thing. He had a great impact on Boo Harvey's early upbringing for the game. And speaking of Coach Haskins, definitely my mentor and the godfather of the show, because whenever, you know, I got to reference something about something that happened before I knew what was going on, I always call Coach, and he always filled me in.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Always there to lend a hand. If I need anything, I call Coach, and he's always there. So salute Coach Haskins. Always love you.
Salute.
Yep. So Ab used to have me and Dave Jr. running 3 miles, 1.5 mile forward, 1.5 miles backwards. I hear that, Ted. Wow. So he had a great impact on all of you guys and different generations too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you attend? Hold on. Before we even get there, let's talk about the youth games and the impact they had on you.
All right. So the U.S. Youth Games. I'm not sure if this was the first year or the second year. I know Derek played, you know, in the youth games, but I'm thinking this is my first year, second year. So they're picking 10 players to represent New York City from all 5 boroughs. They got tryouts all around the whole city. And they picked 10 players. We played in Washington. The games were in Washington, D.C. And Cecil Watkins was the head of it. I mean, Cecil Watkins was also the head of the NBA referees. And I made that team, 16 and under, to represent New York City in the U.S. Youth Games in D.C. I mean, just a tremendous honor. I mean, you talk about the Bronx, you talk about Brooklyn, you talk about Manhattan, you talk about Staten Island, you talk about Queens. And Lost Battalion was where the trials were. And I made that team at where Cecil was there, and we were just dunking it at Lost Battalion. I mean, talk about throwing it all kind of ways. And that's how I made that team. You know, just playing and earning the right. But 10 players out of all New York City, 16 and under. And, you know, that was pretty special. So, you know, so coming out of that, and back then in high school, you know, high school was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. You know, 9th grade, you were in junior high school. 7th, 8th, and 9th grade was junior high school. And so I'm going into my, you know, my sophomore year at Jamaica after coming off the U.S. Youth Games. My name is out there now, and we ran with it, you know, from there. But that was a great experience. I saw some pictures. Joe Artime, he sent me some picture. Artie Green was on that team, and you know, Rockefeller Center. We had to wear orange jackets and white pants, and took the train to go down there. And we had track. We had all different kind of sports, and we represented New York with the U.S. Youth Games. That was special. 10 players out of all the tryouts out of the whole entire city.
So that probably was like the precursor to the Empire State Games.
They didn't have Empire State Games then.
Right. So when after the youth games, I know after they probably didn't have them anymore, we had the Empire State Games. That's what, you know, Ted and I participated in.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you ever play in the Armory on Jamaica Avenue?
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
what tournaments was held there, and you know what went on there? Like besides,
I mean, we just hooped in there. I don't remember any tournaments really going on there. I don't remember what tournaments in the Armory, to be honest with you. I just know back then, man, the tournaments were outside. We played tournaments outside. Tournaments inside, I don't know if I can really remember the tournaments inside. I don't know. My memory is fading.
We was all outside. The only inside, tournaments was, IS8. Then you had, the All City at Lost Battalion and sometime at, Elm Court, right? So,
but citywide, that was what was up at Montebello. I mean, you had to, I don't know, you didn't call them the midgets. You call them what's the lower level? But then you had juniors and you had seniors and you had unlimited. And I'm talking about unlimited out there at Montebello. I mean, the courts would be packed watching those games. So Montebello, we used to go out to Rockville Center. They had a nice tournament. And they would have it out there at nighttime, which was pretty cool. With like a yellow ball out in Rockville Center, right outside on Long Island there. We used to go up to the Bronx, up to Soundview. I remember we used to have this run. Jackie Knowles. I don't know if anybody remembers that name, but Jackie Knowles had this PAL up in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
And the run wouldn't start until like 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And they cleared it all out, and then they would have, elite modes coming in there, hooping at the PAL. And we would drive up from Queens up to the Bronx. And Jackie knows it was only, certain people that could come in there and run. And we would hoop, man, till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Obviously, we didn't have jobs. We were still trying to get on a team or something. But it was really, really good run. That's some New York City stuff back in the day. Probably still now.
Yeah. Yo, Harry, I'm going to kick you out the studio. You can go to YouTube, and if you want to check out the show, it's NYC Basketball History. NYC Basketball History. I think you probably sent you the link by mistake. Harry Palakate.
Ah.
Yeah, so you can go to NYC Basketball History on YouTube, and you can watch the show from there.
That's my guy.
Yeah, figured that. Man, those times were some awesome times. Who's this? Luther Clark, Webster PAL.
See?
Yeah, they know. Shout out to Rick Marsh. I graduated from Jamaica High School as well. Now, and this is what we're going to get into, right? Because you have all these other great schools around you, and no knock to Jamaica, man, but you got Jackson. You got all the Catholic schools that's there. You got Hillcrest. Why did you choose Jamaica?
I can't say, but I know I didn't want to go to John Brown. I didn't want to go to Edison, and I wasn't up living by Jackson at the time. So Jamaica was the choice, and I wasn't even zoned for Jamaica, but we used to go to Jamaica. We used to go in the summertime. We would go up to Edison, had a summer camp. And we used to go up there today summer, we would hoop and all of that. Then we would go over to Jamaica and use that swimming pool and go swimming there. And so I think because of the fact that we used a pool when we used to go to Jamaica, I said, man, come on, I want to go to Jamaica. And then after the U.S. Youth Games, they said, Hilty Shapiro, who was our coach then, like, come on, come here. And I said, all right. I mean, you're young. I was 16. I'm going to Jamaica. And we built it off. And, all right, so here's the other piece. When I lived in Flushing, we had a group of us, we were called the Young Lions. We had a crew, and we balled. And we would go to different courts, and we would play. And all of them were going to Jamaica. And in my 9th grade year, I wasn't even in high school yet. I went up to the tryouts. My guys had me come to the tryouts to get them the ball so they can make the team. and so the coach Hilty said, come on, man, we already know who you are. So the next year I ended up going there, I don't know. All those kind of pieces kind of came together, and Jamaica, was where I was going. I didn't want to go to John Brown.
So Mr. John Brown. John Brown is actually pretty good right about now. But yes, I definitely understand because back then they weren't good at all.
Yeah.
Now you named all these other places you played in the city. Did you ever come to Brooklyn and play?
Yeah, we used to play in Brooklyn. We played at the what's the main place in Brooklyn? The what's the spot in Brooklyn? The inside.
St. John's Rec?
Yes, St. John's Rec. We used to go there. We played in St. John's Rec. We went to Brooklyn from Queens.
You know, I gotta ask, man. You know, I gotta ask. Just for Ab's sake. You know what I'm saying?
Man, we went to Brooklyn, man.
So let's talk about your transition. Let's talk about your transition into Jamaica, and when did you start to come into your own as a player there?
Well, I mean, the youth game started it. I think I was maybe second team All Queens as a sophomore. I was second team All City as a junior, and then I was first team All City as a senior. That senior All City team, I mean, it was me, it was Phil Sellers, it was Lloyd Free, World, O'Neal Tarrant, and Keith Froskin. I mean, three of us I know went to the NBA.
What year was that? What year?
1972. I mean, think about it. Looking at the numbers, I mean, there's like 550 high schools in New York City. You got like 12 people on your varsity team. I got these numbers. And they picked 5 out of the entire city to be the top 5 in the city. So a tremendous honor to be All City in New York. And, to this day, that is something that means so much to me, to be All City in New York City.
Hold on, because I'm looking right now. Hold on. Okay. 1972-73 Daily News All Brooklyn Queens team.
That's another team. That's another one. The Post was the All City team.
Got you. There definitely was different ones.
Yeah.
Hold on, I want to make sure.
That's Brooklyn Queens.
Right. That's Brooklyn Queens. Yup. So yeah, you have 1971-72 All City PSL team. Phil Sellers, Peter Davis, Ernie Dowse, Ron Hagler, Isaac DeVore, Mel Utley, and then that 71-72 team, you had yourself, Lloyd Free, Greg Grady, Andy Walker, yep, and Coach Mark Reiner, yep. Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing about New York City. I mean, you make All City.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of players, man. It's a lot of players, bro.
Chances are you're going to the NBA.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Now, we had guys back then, too, that made second team All City, make it to the NBA. That would never happen. That would never. Second team All City, you're not going. It got to be second team All City and go big time play Kansas State, Rolando Blackman, right? Then play in the Olympics, then become a 5-time All-Star. That don't happen like that. So, the amount of players that New York City produced was plentiful back then.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That is definitely crazy. What school were your rivals, and what player gave you a tough time when you played against them?
I mean, Van Buren, Martin Van Buren. I mean, because they when Dave Edwards Sr. was there, we didn't beat him. We lost to him. But after Dave left, we didn't lose him anymore. That was my sophomore year. We didn't lose him anymore. Jackson was the big-time rival. I remember one time we played Jackson, and so there were all kind of fights going on and whatnot. And so we played Jackson at Jackson, and they wouldn't allow any of our people to the game. They wouldn't allow our cheerleaders. So we played at Jackson. We had none of our people, and they beat us. We were like, 18-2. And I was like, Jeff Brown, it was like double team, boxing one, all that kind of stuff there. And they bust us. And now here I'm at Jamaica, but I live up in Jackson territory, right? I live up in Andrew Jackson territory. So I got Sundance coming by my house, talking about, man, we bust y'all. And I'm like, but that year, Derek Hawkins, we played them for the Queen's Championship. Queensboro, packed house. They were like 22-2 or 3. And we bust them. So it was kind of like payback. But I'm talking about all these years later, we talk about 50 plus years later. No one has forgotten that. And if I see anybody from Jamaica or anybody from Jackson, they remember that game and they remember the rivalry that we had back in the day. Cool, you know the deal. You know how that goes.
Yeah, that's probably the only time they beat Jackson too, because our rivals was Grady High School.
Okay,
right around the corner. So we definitely understand the rivalry sensation that was going there. And I didn't know that Dave Edwards Sr. went to Van Buren.
Yeah, him, Spider, Steve Shell, Junie. I think Junie was there. That crew, they were tough. You couldn't come down the court and spin. If you spun, them monsters was clamping that. They were tough. They were really, really a good basketball team.
How did you know you was one of the top players in the country? Like, when did it come to your mind that you was one of the top players in the country? And was Tom Kinchowski around during your time?
He was. But for some reason, Hilty Shapiro, my high school coach, I didn't go to 5-star because of some issues that they, I don't know, but I didn't. But my name was there. I was, in magazines as one of the top 100 players in the country. So I was getting it, and I was getting accolades. I never felt like I was all of that. I just enjoyed the game. I enjoyed playing. I felt that I was humble. I'm sure probably other people felt that I wasn't, but I felt that I was humble in how I went about the game. And so, I was getting letters from colleges. I think when I saw your podcast earlier with Derek, I wanted to leave New York. My folks wanted me to leave New York. Like many high school players in New York City, probably in Chicago, anywhere else, they want you to go and see something else. Don't just stay home and stay here. And so I looked at schools outside of New York, Midwest, West. And so Hilty kept those letters. He only sent me letters from colleges, kind of really in the Midwest. And when I was in high school, my senior year, in September of my senior year, I visited Michigan State before my senior year even started. And so I was heavily recruited by them. I had a lawyer that was living in New York. He would take me to Knick games. He was always coming around. He was there. And the whole thinking was that I was going to Michigan State. It was pretty much, set in stone. But Nebraska came and said, hey, we're building a new Coliseum. We're going to, we're trying to get away from football. And we're going to build our team around you. You're the best guard in the country. That's how they came to me. You young, I got caught up in all of that, and we're going to give you a car. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I thought that I could build a program, with the University of Nebraska. And so it was one of the hardest decisions to tell that lawyer that I wasn't going to Michigan State. So, lessons learned. But I'm not looking back on it in any kind of negative. I mean, hindsight is 20/20. And this is how it goes. I went to Nebraska, stayed there 2 years, and transferred, sat out a year, and went to Manhattan College.
But you had the first NIL deal before NIL deals. let's show some love for that right there. They said, listen, hey, we're building a Coliseum. We're going to take care of you. We got a car. Here's a little stash for you. This NIL deal before the NIL deal.
There was an NIL deal. I have to agree. But back then, though, when you transfer, you got to sit out a year. And Manhattan, I wouldn't even thought about Manhattan when I was coming out of high school. So I was like, not Manhattan. Another quick story. So when I came back, I was ready to leave Nebraska after my freshman year. And everybody back in New York, my high school coach, this and that, you can't, freshman blues, you can't just be leaving after your freshman year. So I stayed another year. And I stayed, through my sophomore year. And I had home issues, with my family. And I just said, whatever. The Nebraska team was going to Italy for a month of playing. And I went home. I was supposed to come back and practice and go to Italy. And when I went home, I said, I'm not going back. I don't want to go. I'm not going to Italy. And I didn't have a school. I just knew I wasn't going back to Nebraska. And so I got with my high school coach and we talked. We went up to St. John's. We sat down with Luke Honor-Second. And Luke Honor-Second hadn't seen me play in high school because he was coaching the Long Island Nets. But Luke Honor-Second knew the deal. He said, no. He said, if you want to come here, you got a full scholarship to come to St. John's. He said, but I got my starting five all set. Frankie Alasia, Glenn Williams, that crew. And so I said, no. And Manhattan College, 4 of their 5 starters were leaving. And I said, all I want to be now at this point in my career is a student athlete. I want to get my degree. I want to play ball. And I made the decision to go to Manhattan. And they welcomed me with open arms. And I come to find out that our home court was Madison Square Garden. We played 8 to 9 games a year in Madison Square Garden. So that's where Manhattan College kind of came in play. And that's why I made that decision. And years later, Luke Honor-Second, he'll say to this day, even at 98 years old, he said, man, I'm the reason that Ricky went to Manhattan College. He said it. I've met him a couple of times. So come on, that's just a story.
No, that's awesome. How did Manhattan College benefit you as a student athlete?
I went there as a student athlete. I went there and got my degree. I went there and played in Madison Square Garden. And I'll tell you how it helped. I think it helped New York City players because they used me as all-city, all-American, went away for greener pastures, and now he's back. I used to be the spokesperson that, for all the the holiday festival and, garden deals when we would play there. They would say, look at this guy. This guy here, man, went away and he's back and he's flourishing playing in Madison Square Garden. You don't have to go away, high school players. Stay here. And again, this was the ECAC. This was before the Big East. Yeah, we played Georgetown and all the kind of schools, but it wasn't the Big East. And so that started, I'm not saying I started the advent of the Big East, but it was the advent of kind of keeping players home versus going away for greener pastures. So New York City ball players, high school players, stayed in the East Coast, on the East Coast versus going away to Arizona, California, and all of that. So I felt good about being a part of that process of changing how people thought about, staying home in New York.
And to top it off, you was a Dean's List student, so big up to that. Facts.
Because I was I wasn't a jock anymore. I wasn't Ricky Marsh. I was Rick Marsh. And And it just made a difference. I don't want to hear all the accolades. I just want to do my job. I want to hoop, and I want to go to class. I want to get my degree and see, what happens after that.
What was your breakout game in Manhattan?
We played in the Holiday Festival. It was 4 teams. It was Indiana. And this was the Indiana team. It was the last college team. This was 1976. This is the last college team that won the NCAA title undefeated. That's how long it's been. So it was Indiana, it was us, it was St. John's, and it was South Carolina. South Carolina had Alex English, Mike Dunleavy, Nate Branch was on that team, and we played in the Garden. 19,000 folks. We played Indiana in the first game. Too big for us. We lost to Indiana. We played in the third place game, and we played against South Carolina, Alex English. And in that game, we beat South Carolina. I had 18 points, 10 assists. Tom Lockhart played great against Alex English, scored 31 points. I think he had 13 rebounds. And in front of 19,000 people, man, we beat South Carolina for third place. I think I'd say my career high in college in Madison Square Garden, I had 31 against Seton Hall. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to...
those are big numbers to get some big schools right there. Yeah, those are some big numbers right there. Was Tom Lockhart from New York as well?
Yeah, he's from the Bronx.
He's from Clinton, right?
No, he went to Bronx High School of Science. I mean, he won no Bronx High School.
Another top-notch educational school.
Yes.
Still to this day.
Yeah. But Locke was nice. He's been playing overseas. Played overseas. He still lives in Sweden now. He's been overseas for the last 40 years. Played overseas after he got drafted in the second round. I think it was Cleveland. So, Locke was nice.
Yeah, I heard a lot about him. Yeah. So let's talk about that big game against your rival, Fordham University. And tell me, what was that game like? And you won MVP during that game as well.
I mean, this is like the annual deal. This is like a St. Patrick's Day kind of a game. We had all kind of Irish smokes. Most of us having kegs and drinking beer, 10 o'clock in the morning, and we played them in the Garden. And we played them and we won. And I got a trophy that was a big trophy. And it was, at that time it was Fordham. I mean, Fordham wasn't all of that. But we won the game. It was a fun event. Most was drunk. And, and the river was green.
And you was drinking beer at 10 o'clock in the morning from a keg.
From a keg.
Oh, man.
Not me.
Typical college student.
Typical.
Yeah. So, once your college career was over, right?
Yep.
Did you know you had a chance to get drafted?
I did.
And once you answer that, explain to them how many rounds there were back then. So they get an idea, because right now people only see that they have 2 rounds in the NBA. During that time, go through the whole process. How did you feel about being drafted? Did you know? And then how many drafts were there? And then what round did you get drafted? I
thought that I was going to get drafted relatively early. Second, third round. That's what I felt. And they were going through the draft, and my name wasn't called. And I actually went to sleep. I didn't find out until the next morning that I got drafted by the Warriors in the 8th round. I was like, I know I transferred from Nebraska. I know I, sat out a year. I know I went, to Manhattan, not a big basketball school. So I was definitely disappointed. No question about it. I thought I could do better. But I said to myself, man, I'm gonna go and give the best effort that I can give. I got myself in great shape, and I went to camp with the attitude that, 10 years from now, I don't want to look myself in the face and say, you didn't give your best effort. I knew I had my college degree. I knew I had something to fall back on. And I felt comfortable with that. And I said, I'm just going to go and just give it my all. And I did. I went to the rookie camp. And out of the rookie camp, they had like maybe 24 players. And they invited, out of that 24, they invited 8 players back to come back to the rookie, to camp. And so I got invited back to camp. And before camp even started, we would just have run in the Coliseum out in Oakland with the Golden State Warriors. I'm talking about Gus Williams. I'm talking about Phil Smith. I'm talking about Rick Barry. And we would just hoop. And I think that what got me on that team was how I played against Phil Smith. Phil Smith was a starter for the Golden State Warriors. He had won an NBA title. And me and him went heads up every day. Really good dude. I really, really liked him. But I played hard against him. You know, again, it's the New York City grit, man. Come on. I got an opportunity, and I'm bringing New York. And I'm bringing the best that I could possibly bring to, you know, try to make this team. And I did. And then all of a sudden, boom. Here we go now. Now we in camp. Now it's camp. Now it's guys really trying to make the team. Everybody didn't make it from that run that we would have in the Coliseum. So now it's like 6 of us in camp that came from the rookie camp. And we went down to San Jose College and we went at it every day. And lo and behold, I played well. And I'll never forget Al Addo saying to me, he says, you can go out and buy your car. He says, you made the team. And those words, I was saying to myself, are you serious? And so I earned it. I was an 8th round draft choice. I came there, worked hard every day, and earned that spot on that team. So yeah, so that's the
How
story.
many rounds were there back then?
8 freaking rounds. I mean, Louisa Harris. I mean, Bruce Jenner. They got drafted before me. And so people ask me about that later.
I heard about Bruce Jenner getting drafted. That was like a joke.
Well, he won a triathlon. This is before he changed.
Yeah, I know, but he didn't play any basketball. You can do
No.
all the stuff you want, right? That's what I'm saying. It was like a joke.
Louisa Harris, I mean, she was one of the
Yes,
best.
I remember the
women players
woman
in
got
history.
drafted. Yeah, she got drafted by Utah Jazz, I think, right?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. I feel good about the grit of playing on the playgrounds of New York and how you bring it, and you just come every day and you play hard. You know, we bought it, man. You came and you played hard every day. Played hard. That's what I love about the Knicks and how they bought it. Most came hard. So, Pooh, you know how it goes.
Yeah. So how did that year go for you? Playing and what did it feel like? You know, because look, I only dream, man, just to play one day in the NBA, right? That's just my dream, to be in the locker room, to play in the game, and you did that. How did it feel traveling back and forth and playing in different stadiums? And just imagine, you probably got drafted higher if they had 3-point lines in college. So let's not even mention that.
Well,
right?
they didn't have a 3-point line in the NBA either.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it was all an experience, man. I was just in a dream world. But again, playing hard every day. And, I'd be on the bench. I didn't play the first month of the season. And I would get, it's so weird because you on a team and it could be like the third quarter and Al Alice was our coach. And Al Alice would say, Ricky Marsh. You in the third quarter, you ain't played in 2 weeks. And boom, you got to get into the game and you got to be ready to play. That's part of the test of being a professional. If you're a professional, then that's how you have to, that's how you have to be. That's how you have to understand how you got to be prepared. And I think, those kind of lessons, they prevail today to this day. You got to be prepared. And so, so I didn't play. Then I would get a little more time, and then I get a little bit more time. And I remember having a couple of standout games where, if you miss your first 2 shots, you coming out. So this particular game, I made my first 2 shots, and then I made 2 or 3 more, and you start getting more confidence. And I just hung in there. And then next thing you know, after a month, I'm starting. I'm a starter. With me and Phil Smith in the backcourt, with Rick Barry, Robert Parrish, and Clifford Ray, and I'm running the offense in the NBA with the Golden State Warriors. It was surreal, I have to say. And I ran with it as long as I could. And I started like 50-something games, that year with the Warriors. The one standout game, 2 standout games. One standout game, Portland that year won the NBA title. And I had 23 points in that game. Shot 9 for 15. I think I had 7 assists and scored 23 points. That was my career high in the NBA. Wow. But I think the most important experience that I had was the first time that I came back to Madison Square Garden and played against the Knicks. Now, keep in mind, I played in the Garden at Manhattan College. I probably played 15 games in the Garden, in college. And so I was comfortable in the Garden. John Compton, the play-by-play guy, in the Garden, I remember comes to the scorer's table, and he said, "Ricky, come on. Good for you." And this was a minute to go in the third quarter against the New York Knicks. And I got in the game, and I scored 14 points in the fourth quarter against Earl Monroe. It was Clemens was on that team, Jim McMillan. But I scored 14 points in the fourth quarter in my Garden debut, playing with the Golden State Warriors. With a minute to go in the third quarter is when I got the game. And I swear to God, I'll never forget that as long as I live.
14 points in the fourth quarter back home at the Garden, baby. That's right there. You know it. You know Ayatollah had to do it to him. And listen, was Rick Barry all they said he was? Because I only see them on tape, and I heard the stories about him. Like, was he that dude for real?
We played a game one time out in Oakland, and we played the 76ers. And this is without a 3-point line. And he had 56 against the Doctor. I tell you that. So, yeah, he was all of that.
That's mean.
He had his arrogance. He was Rick Barry and everything, man. But that game that I had, that 23 points against Portland, was because he got in foul trouble and he won in the game. So there were some extra shots out there.
23 points against the NBA champs. That's saying something.
Yeah, Lionel Hollins, Johnny Davis, Bill Walton, that crew.
They beat the 76ers that year because the 76ers had a bunch of chuckers on their team and no one was playing together. So I definitely remember that.
I see Derek.
Ask Rick was playing at the ISA ever tough as playing in the NBA?
ISA was tougher. ISA, man, was the move. ISA was tougher, Derek. You know the deal. You had to bring it at ISA. Nobody was sweating you. You had to bring it. If you didn't bring it, the crowd will call you out. And there was some good players in a tight junior high school gym. I'm talking about standing room only, packed house. Nah, man, IS8 was it. Derek, you called it.
Nah, that's real. That's dope. That's dope. Dane Jocelyn, how did you make it?
As far as?
Well, I want, that's what I want to know. Explain yourself, Josh, because he explained all the work he put in high school, college, and made a name for himself and got drafted in the 8th round. So that's the gist of it. That's right. ISA, bring your game, not your name.
No, ain't nobody care about your name.
Still a slogan to this day. Yeah. Said, good job. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So let's talk about you had any other stints playing basketball after Golden State?
Yeah. What's up with the Boston Celtics? I was with the Celtics in Larry Bird's rookie year. So, after Golden State, I played in the Eastern League. And this is the Continental League, but before the Continental League was the Eastern League. Played with Stan Wright, Carl Winfrey, and we played for the Lancaster Red Roses, man, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we would drive down from New York on Thursday and play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we play in Allentown. We play in Scranton. We would play in these towns, players trying to get back in the NBA or get to the NBA. And we did that. Then Stan and I, man, we were like substitute teachers in New Jersey. And then at nighttime, like I mentioned earlier, we would go and play up in the PAL up in the Bronx at 11 o'clock at night. So we were just all hustling, trying to get back, trying to get to the league. Stan was with me in Boston. In Boston, again, after the Eastern League, I went to Boston to their camp. But I was there, throughout the summer. Larry Bird's in the first year, Cedric Maxwell, M.O. Carr, Nate Archibald. And we did the summer thing. We would play outside on cement, going through drills. And then we would play in the evening. They'd open it up, to the public. And we would scrimmage in the evening. So I went through all of that. Then we get, they had their cuts and all of that. And that, went through it with them through the exhibition season. And ended up being like the final cut. Me and Kevin Stakem. Kevin Stakem had already played with the Celtics. And we were like the last two cuts. And Casey Jones and Bill Fish was the head coach. Casey Jones was the assistant coach. So I sat down with them. Same story that Al Adams told me. That, hey, you proved you could play in the NBA, but it's all about numbers. So after that, I said, all right, it's time to move on. I thought about going overseas to play. My college coach had connections with Italy and all of that. And I said, no. Junie Smith, one of my mentors, I'll never forget, his comments was that, Rick, yeah, you could go overseas and chase the ball, but you proved you could play in the NBA. Parlay, your college degree and your relationships and move on to a corporate job. And I did. And I started a corporate job. I interviewed and had an alumni said, hey, when Rick finishes playing, have him come and sit down with us and let's figure out what's going to be the next step for him. And I did. I settled on this one company. And I worked with a company called Champion International, forest products company, and I moved out to Minneapolis for a training program and then settled here in the Midwest. And then my wife, Holly, and I, she was my fiance at the time. We connected up out here, got married, and we've been here ever since. We live in Evanston, Illinois, And we've been in our house now for 40 years. She and I will be married 44 years in September. We have one son. You know, he just turned 40. I got a granddaughter. He's 4.5. And we made our mission statement after I finished playing ball. We wanted to live in a community that where we could walk down the street and folks would say, "Hey, Mr. Marsh. Hey, Coach. Hey, Mrs. Marsh. Hey, Coach." She was a coach too. She coached a cheerleader program in our youth basketball program, Fellowship of Afro-American Men. So we said, no, we're right along the lake. We're 15 minutes from downtown Chicago. And we just said, man, we settling here. We staying here. DuPont, the company I worked for corporately for 34 years. For you to move up the corporate ladder, you got to move and live in different places. And we just said, we're not moving. We're staying here. And they supported that. But they said, no, man, if you're going to not move, then you're going to have to travel. So for about 28 years, I was on an airplane every week, 40 weeks out of the year. And I did that for 28 years until I retired, back in 2016. And so now I'm retired. I'm still involved with youth development. That's my mission. And that's kind of where I am now in my life.
and that's what I told you earlier, man. We're gonna give you another tech for that one. Sure. Because that's what success is about, right? We talk about the different transition in basketball players' lives that happens, and we want to show the kids and the younger generation that there are going to be different transitions in your life, and you can use basketball as a platform or as a trampoline to get yourself to the next level, to prepare yourself to be a professional in whatever you do, because we all still professionals, right? You just retired. You're a retired professional now. So that's just what it is. And it just doesn't have to be on the basketball court, but you can use basketball as a springboard to get you to where you want to go. And
the hope right now with young people, at least for me, all I got to do is just say, they just learned that I played in the NBA. They don't care when. They don't care how long. You play in the NBA. And so now they're listening, so I can get in their ear and I could be that mentor to, hopefully just something catches and can make a difference, in their lives.
Tell me about Kurt's Cafe and how you got involved with them and what do they do on the mentor spectrum?
Well, with FAM, I had young people that, with FAM was more basketball, and you coaching young folks, and you get them at a young age. Kurt's Cafe is a little bit different. And before, Kurt's Cafe, before I just give that story, I work with young people that were on that trajectory. They were moving forward, and they were already there, and I supported that. Kurt's Cafe is more young people that are not on that trajectory. These are young folks that have been oftentimes touched by the justice system. Some are homeless. And not homeless living on the street, homeless living on their auntie's couch or on their friend's couch. But they have opportunities. They're smart. They're good people. So what we're trying to do is improve outcomes for young adults living in at-risk situations through work and life skills training. That's our mission statement. And so we're trying to, we asked them, well, what do you need? And they said, man, we need a job. So they have a job. And so they're learning how to be accountable, learning how to be on time. They're working in the cafe. They're working in front of the cafe, the back of the cafe, learning how to be a part of a team. And we're building that foundation for folks that wouldn't normally kind of get the support and haven't gotten the support that they need. So I've been there. I've been a board president of Kurt's Cafe for the last 7.5 years. Started as a mentor, and it's a program of touching young people and helping them get to the next step in their life. So that's what I'm doing now. Along with FAM, I'm still involved in that, along with other young folks that I've been connected to all through these years. And That's what we're doing here in Evanston, Illinois.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. That is so awesome. My guy Ayatollah Beats wanted to know, did basketball bring you peace of mind back then?
Yes, absolutely. When you hooping, you know, you go to the gym, even out here, we used to have this run on Sunday mornings. And when you go there in that gym and you sweating, and back in the day when you sweating and you just hooping, oh my God, that was the peace of mind. That was it. I would tell her, man, you know the deal.
And he had one more last question. What is your favorite basketball movie?
You know what? The movie with Denzel and with Ray Allen.
So listen, okay, I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because I had Stephon Marbury on the show. That movie was about Stephon, of course. And the reason why he didn't play in it is because Spike Lee asked him to audition to play himself. And he was like, why audition to play myself? Right. And he explained the whole thing. But yes, he got game.
He got game.
Yeah.
I mean, it had drama. It had the relationship of the father and the son. You know, that whole piece there.
Yeah, for sure. I told us that thank you, appreciate you. Ted Portwine said the class act. Yeah.
You know.
There you go. Great choice, he said. So, if you could change one thing about your basketball journey, what would it be and why?
There's nothing I would change. The easy thing to change would be to say I should have gone to Michigan State versus Nebraska. But that's all part of the life journey.
I was going to say the same thing. I definitely going to say the same thing. I was like, you should have went to Michigan State.
I mean, Nebraska, that was, there was learnings that came out of that. I got a buddy of mine that was my roommate and connected. He was in my wedding, and we're still buddies to this day. I've been out there a few times, man, for their golf outings out there. The lessons that I learned. I'm not changing anything. It is what it is. Hindsight is 20/20. I'm good. There's nothing I would change.
What happened to that car, fam? What happened to that car?
I didn't get the car.
What?
The most man faked me. I just saw the other day, just read today, a quarterback. He sued the boosters. They said, man, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. And he didn't get it. He's suing them now. So, no, I didn't get that. I didn't get a car.
So you should have known right then and there it wasn't going to go right.
Yeah.
But, again, hindsight 20/20.
I got some money, but I didn't get a car.
Hey. Let's salute to that. Let's salute to that. At least you got some cash out the deal. You got some cash. He said, can I watch any of your games on YouTube?
I can't find my games. I got one little snippet of me coming down against the Lakers, but I can't. If anybody can find something on YouTube or anywhere, please share. You know?
If I find something, I'm definitely gonna let you know.
Yeah.
All right. So let's have some fun right now and get into the top 5. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Top 5.
All right.
Oh, I mean, come on. You gotta go with
top 5 guys you played against.
Top 5 guys I played against. I used to go when I was in Boston in that camp. I used to go heads up, me and Tiny every day. And Tiny wasn't all the way giving him respect up, but I remember him going to the hole one time, and he bowled me, and I just and slammed that mug. And then we were cool after that. We were totally fine. He just gave it up, and he was all good. So I'm going with Tiny. I'm going with I played against Kareem. That's how old I am. And you know, it's another one that I think in my top 5. I'm going with Phil Sellers. Phil Sellers was a grown man in high school.
Thomas Jefferson and Ruckus, great.
Yeah,
Legend.
grown man. I never played against a Doc, but the Doc came out there to IS-8 one time and just was on the sidelines watching Ollie Taylor and his team from Long Island. I didn't play against him, but I got to go with the Doc. And I think my last one.
You can't. If you didn't play against the Doc, you can't name him.
Okay, all right.
You gotta put somebody that you played against.
Hell, I played against Earl Monroe. I played against Pete Maravich. I had to guard Pete Maravich.
That's your 5 right there. Who can say that? Not too many people can say that.
No.
All right. Top 5 guys you played with.
Calvin Bruton. You know, that was my man I played with. I got to go with Phil Smith. Good person I played with. I got to go with Tiny. I played with him. I got to go with Phil Sellers again. Phil Sellers was the man. And I think the last one, come on, I'm going to give it up to my man Sundance. Clarence Sundance Rain. That's my crew.
Okay. Last one. Top 5 basketball players in New York City history.
All right, so Tiny, Kareem. Again, Phil. I can't say Doc because he's not from New York City. He's from out on the island.
But I always say New York City, but I count the whole New York. Top 5 players in New York. We can do that.
I got to go with Doc. You know, and I'm gonna say this because this is what it means to me. I'm going with Dave Edwards Sr. Salute. Giving that up.
Show him some love again. We're going to definitely show some love again to Mr. Dave Edwards Sr. Tomorrow, look out for him. I will be putting him on my Instagram tomorrow. And, you know, he looks so similar to Denzel Washington.
He does.
Wow. Salute. Hey, listen, I want to say, man, it's been a pleasure to sit down and have this conversation with you, bring you on the show. You meant so much to us and so many in New York City over the years. Class act, living legend, still doing his thing and giving back to the youth. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you did for us and represent New York City in the right way, and let you know you are definitely one of the greatest players in New York City history, my man.
Man, thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. I mean, for you kind of bringing this kind of stuff out, I mean, you could, you know, have some names out there of folks that, you know, I mean, just doing different type things and everything, but just connecting in with folks that, you know, got history and connections. So I don't know. Good job, man. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, brother.
Hardy.
For sure. Clarence Sundance ran another Terror Dome legend. And Derek Hawkins said, I learned a lot about Eric today. Wow. I meant Rick. Hey, listen, man, I'm going to get you out of here, man. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Tell your family, thanks for watching. And this is your first time on Basketball Heads. Please hit the subscribe button. Share this with your friends. Share this with your family, co-workers. Share this with everybody. Let everybody know Rick Marsh, one of the greatest players in New York City history, definitely touched down on Basketball Heads live podcast. All right? Spread the word. My brother, peace.
Thank you, man.
Outro, and we're going to get you out of here. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Man, listen. First, I start off season 7 with Boo Harvey from Queens. And then we go to Troy, New York, and get Emmanuel Tiki Maben. And then we go back to Queens to get my guy Rick Marsh. And all three of them have different stories. All of them. You're rarely going to hear some similar. You're going to hear some similar talks about tournaments or probably high school, and then it kind of changed because everybody have their own paths. But the main thing we want to get out of this is the transitions in these ball players' lives, how they move from one part of their life to the next. And as Rick told you, look, there's going to be some times when you're going to have some success, and it's not going to be smooth all the way through, but it's how you bounce back. And he bounced back. And when everybody counted him out, and when he thought he was going to get drafted, he went to sleep and found out the next day he was going to play in the NBA. Dreams do come true. Just believe in yourself. And never give up. Because when that ball stops bouncing and the game is over, like my guy Eric Hicks say, all right? So please support my guy Eric Hicks. This is his own trophy that he makes. It looks like us, right? It's another story. When that ball stopped bouncing, you got to be able to transition to the next part of life. And he did that very successfully. So shout out to my guy Rick Marsh and the whole Marsh family. And everybody on live, I appreciate you. Appreciate you, all my guys, all my basketball heads, all my women, girls, boys. My name is Glenn Pooh Harding, and this is Basketball Heads Live podcast on NYC Basketball History. We are the official home for New York City basketball. Y'all know what we say. Peace. We out.